Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first impressions of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 single-player campaign. This is a pretty good one, I gotta say. This is one of the better single-player campaigns that has been made under the Call of Duty name. It's actually good. Now, hold on, before you go out and buy it for 60 bucks, I gotta say, it's not worth 60 bucks just for the campaign, like the games of old. Now, when it comes to great Call of Duty campaigns that I always compare the games to, you have Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, of course. This game being a reboot of it, I guess. You've got some of the same beats, but it's a very different story. But, you know, you play as Americans, British, you got the Russians and the, Middle Eastern dudes. One of which I just shot right there. So, yeah, you've got Call of Duty 4, which is known for its, you know, blockbuster set pieces, and some of its, like, not-so-subtle, political commentary. And anti-war stuff, believe it or not. It's actually kind of cool. And then, you have World at War, which is liked a lot more nowadays, in retrospect. It's got a over-the-top story going on for it, but it's very visceral. It's still very interesting, very fun. Then you have Modern Warfare 2, which I kind of put in there, but I'll just say top 4. But, you know, a lot of people will get mad at me if I don't mention it. Then you have Black Ops 1 and 2, which have good story, characterization, and in Black Ops 2's case, it actually has branching paths, which is pretty cool. After Black Ops 2, the series decided, hey, let's not make good video games anymore. They made Ghosts, which you all know I fucking hated. You had Advanced Warfare, which was a step in the right direction, but it kind of doomed the franchise for several years after that, as we all know. Oh man, then you had Black Ops 3, which I don't think anyone cared for the story in that game. God. And then World War II, which was just arguably the worst one yet. You had, like, terrible multiplayer design where, you just had these 3-lane maps. You had cutscenes that lasted way too long. Just a boring game. Awful, awful. And then, you had Black Ops 4, which decided to say, fuck it, let's just get rid of the single player. And, you know, they had a good co-op mode, they had a good multiplayer, a decent multiplayer, I should say. It felt really shrunken down, though, even though you're still paying $60 for it. And, you know, I'm fine with paying for a multiplayer-only game. I mean, a lot of these games are always online. This game is always online. Like, don't kid yourself. They're like, oh, no single player, no buy. What happens when the service goes down? You can't play campaign either, because apparently this is always online anyway. And the PC version doesn't even have a local multiplayer, which sucks. Because otherwise, the PC port's pretty good. It's got a decent multiplayer. It's got an interesting co-op mode. And what's more is that, even though it's short as hell, like I think it's like 6 or 7 hours, we're not too far in it at this point, but I've got a save way ahead. The level after this is really good. I don't want to spoil it. But, what you got here is a really fun campaign. It's not quite like the other games, but it's still fun. You got these minute-long cutscenes, so it's not like Call of Duty World War II where you're just sitting through boring shit that you don't care about. It's very, ready to get you deep into the action, and even when you're in the action, it's not like, you're stuck behind an NPC for 10 minutes. No, you can open your own doors, which is cool. You can breach. It's fun. They've got these, different set pieces, and, like, sometimes you're stealthing up a building, sometimes you're in, like, these war-torn areas, like, shooting through, like, buildings, or, like, run-down areas. It's fun. I like it. It doesn't waste time. There's either 2 moments in this game. Action or about to be. You also have this new mechanic, like this little peek system, where you can kind of snap to cover and then look around. It's a nice way to not put in lean, I guess, but still do it. You have to do it to specific cover. It also, like, locks in. If I can do it, it kind of just, you know, takes me in. And actually, it's really cool for multiplayer. And you think that it would ruin it because of all the camping that would happen from something like this, because it also steadies your weapon, which is really good for sniping and machine guns, which actually does balance them a little bit more. But what's really cool is that the multiplayer actually has some more verticality to it from what I've seen so far. More crevices. So it's really fun. Like, it's not dog shit, which is nice, and it's actually good. Now, the campaign itself, my biggest problem right now is the level variety and the replayability. You were always playing those older Call of Duty games again because, you know, you wanted to try them on the higher difficulties, you wanted to try out the branching paths for, you know, some of the games like Black Ops 1 and 2. You wanted to see those badass set pieces again, and this game just doesn't have the really, really good set pieces. Like, it has some, I won't spoil them. It does have a few, like, really cool moments, but it's not like, you know, the AC-130 or Shock and Awe. You know, Shock and Awe for, like, that moment, like, whoa, or the AC-130 for, like, the gameplay, like, uniqueness. But it does have something close, I'll say that. It is fun, but it's not as... It can be a little bit visceral at times in the scripted cutscenes, but for the most part, like, the violence is a little bit toned down. Like, if I, like this, there's no, like, limb decapitation or anything like that. Animation quality is really good, voice acting is really good, but, it just feels like it's, a little bit muted sometimes, you know. But, like, the sound design, you know, I'll just let you hear everything for it right now. Just shut up for a second.
You get the counter! Out there! Get moving! I see one, northwest! Got a visual! Move out!
Yeah, it's nice. I was expecting it to sound a little bit better, though, from what I've kind of saw in the trailers, but, it's got really good sound design. Let's see, like, yeah, you got, different audio sliders, which is nice. There's also a setting for, yeah, here we go. Home theater boost, volume, like, for certain sounds. Nice, it even shows you, like, when you first select it, like, the differences, although it's not really doing that here. But it does for graphics, like, if you want to... I mean, this is a little bit weird, but yeah, I guess it shows screen tearing there, but it doesn't show it in motion, which is where, you know, screen tearing happens. But yeah, you have a good amount of options here. The video highlights as well for recording stuff, but that's the video cards only. You got, like, display options for... color options, I should say, for monitor and TV. Good amount of resolution options, but it doesn't really show you, like, the differences between them, which is something I'd like to see, but it does show you, like, oh, this is what they do. Which is nice. Anti-aliasing options, just a handful. No FXA, but, you know, I guess maybe that's Filmic SMAA, which is Vaseline on everything. Now, at 1440p on a 1070 Ti, 8700K, mostly maxed out settings, you see the frame rate right there. Over 60, almost all the time. Now, there are some issues I've noticed, like loading into the game. Sometimes you have to load and install shaders. It's been doing that a few times. And also, like, day one patch, 2 of them, in fact, like, I had to restart the game because it had to install more stuff, and then I had to download a patch, so that was a little annoying. So, and it's also like 120 gigs plus for the download, maybe 170. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I have it running on SSD, so it's not too slow. And it's actually fast in general. It's the initial load, though, that takes a second, though, especially if you got like an older hard drive, like Jesus. You also have different controller options, different styles, and then you also have different stick options, which is really nice, too. So that's separated. You have the inverted look options, aim assist for controls. All this stuff's here. Everything's here. You also have the option to turn on or off the crossplay. This game is crossplay compatible with consoles. A lot of people don't like that, but hey, you can turn it off. And for PC players like myself, it's nice to have that because a lot of the times, a lot of game modes, aside from Team Deathmatch, a lot of them usually go completely dead after release. So, nice to have a player base. And speaking of that, there's no Season Pass, which is good. There's no crazy microtransactions right now. I expect, because this is Activision Blizzard, we're gonna get some Chinese flags, you know, some glory to Chairman Mao, Pac. Yeah. Let's not get into that, though. Yeah, you have fully rebindable keys as well. You know, everything is in order. It runs well. It looks nice. Everything's here. Does it have the crazy blockbuster events of Modern Warfare? Not quite. Although I will say that if you're looking for a blockbuster successor to Modern Warfare, this game backs it up in the visuals and the pacing and the scripting. I do like it. Doesn't have the visceralness of World at War, though. it doesn't have the branching story and the detail of Black Ops, but it does get close to that. And as for the visceralness, there are some moments in the game, and there is a half-decent story here, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh man, it's really interesting or it's really cool. It's alright. It's like a watered-down Tom Clancy novel. But yeah, the set pieces are quite good, and there is enough variety. It doesn't waste your time, and it's fun to shoot things. I think that's the most important thing to take away from here. I'd say it's not in the top 5 Modern Warfare, or top 5 campaigns. You know, if you were to have a list of 5, I think everyone would have Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and Call of Duty World at War. But if you were to have a 6th, it would be this one, easily. That's not saying much because a lot of the games below it are pretty trashy or mediocre, but it's a nice step in the right direction. And my hand off the mouse. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'd say it's worth checking out the single-player campaign. Don't pay $60 just for it, though. Don't do that. It's like 6 or 7 hours, and it really isn't worth replaying. Those other games had, like, that replayability that you're looking for. From, you know, the list, the things I've already just mentioned. It's got too many scripted events that are still fun, but it just gets in the way a little bit too much for me to be like, ah, man, that is not going to be as fun the second time. And even right now when I'm doing commentary over it, I'm not, like, as into it. It's a little bit slower paced. So, yeah. But it is a nice little, like, okay, let's play this, and then let's get into the multiplayer and then the co-op, where most of your time's going to be spent. It's nice. It's a nice little jump-off point. I hope we can get games that are just kind of unique or, like, a little different, like, in terms of the Call of Duty games. Like, maybe we'll get one that's a little bit quick, but, you know, it's still a good campaign. And, you know, we don't have to have a campaign in every single one of them, but you know what? I want the value. Alright? Or at least make the multiplayer better. Black Ops 4 didn't have good value. They were charging for a season pass on PC. Activision knows the player base dies out for the PC community very quickly. No one's gonna buy a season pass. They already started removing modes from the PC version, like, a few months after the game came out. But with crossplay on here, I feel this is gonna have a little bit of a longer lifespan. Hopefully. Unless everyone on console turns it off. It is on by default, though, so something to look out for. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is it for me and my impressions of this game. I still suck at it, but I am having a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Give the multiplayer a look-see, see if you like it. If you like it, then use the campaign to justify putting the money forward. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out.